last night, Super Bowl happened.
Yeah.
Bucs went on to get that dub, 31-9.
We predicted the score right.
You did.
For the Bucs.
Yes.
No, you said 31 too. You got them losing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. You're right. I don't think any of us expected the Chiefs not to score a touchdown. That was kind of nuts. But Bucs won their second, Super Bowl in franchise history. Obviously, Brady, if y'all haven't heard by now, has his record 7th Lombardi, the most in NFL history. I mean,
it's debilitating.
Like literally, no franchise has. I mean, obviously, us and the Patriots are tied with 6. No other franchise has more than that. My man Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any franchise in NFL history, and he has a record 5 MVPs in the Super Bowl as well.
Let me put this into perspective for you, dude. My whole life growing up, that was our claim to fame, dude. We had 5. Like 2005, we got 5. We had the most. I think it was the most at that point.
It was. And then I remember
San Fran had 5.
We got the 6
with Montana.
First.
Yeah, 6. So we got 6 in 08 then, quick. Mm-hmm. That was the Steelers' claim to fame. We had that for over a decade here.
Yeah, up until, 2 years ago when the Patriots won it.
Anytime we lose.
Yeah.
Oh, we got more rings. It don't even matter. Best franchise ever. More rings, this and this and this.
Always best franchise ever because of the rings.
We still do. But it's like, oh my God. Can we even be talking about this anymore? Because a player now has more than the team.
That's always.
Like, I don't know if
I didn't think about that. You're absolutely right.
I don't even know. Like, can I be boasting about 6 rings now? But then someone could always come back.
Oh my
Brady's got 7, bitch. Like,
you are.
What do I do?
Right. I never thought of. You know what? And I've heard that because my sister. I tell you, like growing up, I was a Cowboys fan. My sister was a diehard Steelers fan. She loved Troy Polamalu. Like that was her guy. And she would always say that, like when I would talk about the Cowboys and I would talk about obviously me playing in Buffalo, she's like, well, shoot, we got the most rings like ever. You know what I mean, like it's not even a debate. Like this is the best franchise ever because of that. And then I remember even when I came here, that's always the rebuttal. We might have lost it, but we got more rings than y'all. Oh, y'all won? Oh, that's cool. It's your 3rd ring, whoop-de-doo. Like, cool. And then I remember the Patriots getting the 6, and we're like, well, it don't matter because we got it first. No one cares about who gets there second, who gets there first. That was our rebuttal to them tying it.
They cheated, too.
Yeah. Come on, man. They ain't do it like we did it with integrity and honor and all these things. But now to see this dude, Brady, was 7, like, bruh. What is going on?
Like, what do I do? Like, what do we do?
No, not just 7, but 5 MVPs on. I'm like, bro, like what? So you're not even getting, because you know how you can get the scenario where we talked about it, right? When people bring up rings for basketball, it's like, oh, rings. Well, what about Robert Horry then? What about this guy? What about that guy? You can't even make that case here because he's not getting carried. He's doing the carrying.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Nuts, man. Nuts.
Do we even talk about the 6 rings anymore? Do we wait? We have to wait till he retires. We got to get the 7 and the 8. Like I don't. He's gonna retire at some point, so that's our chance to catch up and get
he already
past
said
him.
He's coming back next year. And
he's saying over 45 now. He said the deadline was 45. Now he's saying I'm open to past 45.
Well, that's good. That's kind of like how you are with Ben, right? Just keep playing as long as you want to play. So he's gonna keep playing as long as he wants to play.
I understand, and I'm good with Brady. Like I don't know how anyone could hate on Brady at this point.
I mean, I love it. I'm not against it.
You know, I hit that point however many years back where you're just like, all right, this dude is just that good. They're so consistent. He's the hardest worker, leader, et cetera, et cetera. But even now, I think some of the backlash or even rebuttal to still Brady being like so great or whatever is he's just been under Belichick with the Patriots.
That was always the knock on him. Yeah.
First year without him.
And the off season. That to me is the even crazier part. We talked about that being the biggest reason why we thought teams would struggle this year. We say if you had to have a major overhaul, right? New quarterback, new head coach, stuff like that, how difficult it was. And we saw how Stefanski was able to have success. He was one of the rare ones. And then we saw how Brady, early on, they struggled. But once they caught up and hit their stride, they literally hadn't lost a game since they had lost to the Chiefs in the regular season. I think it was in week 13 or no, might even before that.
They were 7-5 at some point.
Yeah, but with that 5th loss or whatever, that's when they had dropped. That went to the Chiefs or whatever, and then from there they didn't lose again the rest of the year. I mean, to me, it's nuts. The not only his ability, because he played at a high level as well. You saw his numbers. I mean, for anyone that thinks he wasn't successful, he was carried. You look at his numbers, man.
Some of his misses were good passes.
Absolutely. So when I think of all of that, and you see him make the run that he's able to make in the postseason, and this is all under year one, but not only his play, but you see how he was able to raise the play of the guys around him as well. They were way more motivated. They believed in it, like it's just something about one of those type of guys on your team, man. It's just different. And it was good to see them, like I said, be able to win a game like that. And I was surprised the second half portion of it, because I thought in the first half, it started out kind of like what we talked about and what I thought it would be. I said, man, with the Bucs being down the whole week, they looked like they were more comfortable with everything going on. The moment wasn't too big. They weren't excited by anything because they had been there all week. Whereas we said the Chiefs, they literally got there for them. It was either 48 or 24 hours before the game, and they got off to a very slow start. And I kept thinking like, all right, slow start, but after the half, they get a chance to get the nerves down. They'll come back and respond. But they never really did. And I thought that, the D-line would have an impact, but I didn't think it would be to that extent. But when you look at the starting line that they put up there, when they really highlighted it, it was a lot worse than I realized. I thought at least in the interior part, center guard were still good. I didn't realize that Wisniewski was starting on at one spot, and then I don't even know the guy the other spot. I was like, whoa, all right. And then when they showed the tackles, I was like, yeah, this is looking rough right here. And we said this before as well, because we talked about with the Steelers a couple times how this is supposed to be a mismatch, right? This is a backup tackle. This is a backup guard. And it's supposed to be a mismatch, but it never looks like that. They made it look like a mismatch yesterday. And I was like, that was the difference. It's not a mismatch if you don't make it a mismatch. Those guys made it a mismatch. You watch Shaq Barrett and JPP from start to finish. It looked like, man, they put up a stat where they said Mahomes ran for over 500 yards yesterday when he was running from the rush. And you would see him literally every time he dropped back, sprinting 10 yards, sprinting 15 yards. Like, that's crazy. And I was still upset because he was still throwing some dimes.
Bro, I could not believe like 2 or 3 of those throws.
Oh, my God, bro.
The ones with Damian Williams, like
it's nuts.
Would have been a touchdown.
I was like, what? Like, how?
He's literally parallel to the ground, horizontal. Throw. I couldn't believe it.
It was perfect.
On the money.
Yes. I said that one, the Tyreek Hill one, hit him dead in the face mask when he dropped in the end zone. I was like, whoa.
You're right on that one, too.
Like,
and then the other one where he was running to, I guess it would be left. I can't really describe on TV, but to the one side, and he was throwing across his body to the left back of the end zone where he almost caught it, but it hit off the pylon. Like in the back corner. Like it wasn't going to be a catch, but it was like, that was still
like the one hand catch.
That was still in stride.
Yes.
And basically like a double coverage back in the end zone.
Yes. I was saying, I was like, that was the part that made me mad, because I'm like, this dude is low key giving you Houdini, and it's going to be missed. Like the way people will view that game is, man, Mahomes had a bad game, this and that. But it's like, if you watched him, that's crazy. Like, if you don't really know that part, like, that was special. The way he was putting that ball in places from them throwing, like you said, that was probably the most impressive throw that I seen, man. the halfway parallel, face a couple inches from the turf, and just absolute dime. And then you go drop the money. Like, I'm like, my man running for his life out here, and you can't just catch the ball? Like, serious?
Yep.
He got whacked at once. I mean, dude, the Sue, Shaq, JPP sandwich they gave him, I said, oh yeah. God.
I don't even know who they called the flag on. I think they called it on JPP going low, but you could have called it on the head too.
Smashed him, yeah. I was like, holy cow, man. But that 2010 draft class, you know how that go, man.
Sue?
Yeah, JPP. So something about
they
that.
They both were in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
AB catching a touchdown.
Yeah, it's Gronk turned back the clock. 2010 took off last night. You better act like you know something, baby. Yeah, act like you know something, baby. You saw what it looked like. Did you see? I don't know if you saw. Did you see it? Did you see what that? Oh, and big announcement. JMU has officially added 3 more players to the list of Super Bowl champions. Obviously, we had the starting right guard for the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Aaron Stinney. Yes, indeed. Go Dukes. Go Dukes. Josh Wells, backup offensive lineman, came in, field goal, block scenarios, extra alignment situations, Super Bowl champion. And then my young guy, well, he's not young anymore, but my man Earl Watford, Super Bowl champion as well, man. So, I had to Give him a little love.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah. So and shout out to Big Steve McClendon too, man. Former Pittsburgh Steeler. He got him one now. It was good. It was. I mean, the coaching staff. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Now, dude, I have a question about the Chiefs' offense.
Yes.
You mentioned that you didn't think it was really on Mahomes. Mm-hmm. I feel like the coaching was pretty bad.
I don't think the coaching was bad. I think the B players didn't show up. In terms of the coverages they were doing, they said that we're going to take away Tyreek Hill, we're going to take away Travis Kelce. Because remember, last time they played him, Kelce and Hill, mainly Hill, were the ones who really killed them. They wanted to play a lot of single high stuff, and they couldn't. They tried to stay with that predominantly in the first half, and they got gashed off of it, right? But then we said in the second half, they obviously came back and only lost by 3 points. So they kind of figured it out in that second go around. In this game, we saw early on, okay, they said they're going to take away Tyreek Hill and take away Kelce. But you looked at the other receivers, and that was the difference. They weren't getting open. To me, that's not scheme related to that point. It's more so if these guys are getting this much attention, your third and fourth guy, they have to win. And typically they had done that at times throughout the season. But we saw you talked about it. I mean, the one hits off the guy's hand. This would have been going to the right side of the end zone. How many do we see? Right, it was two that went to the right side. You know, obviously you had the crazy like throw off the ground, but then this would have been in the third quarter. I want to say it was a little over route, crossing route where he throws it, and that wasn't Harmon. That was the other guy.
Kelce dropped one too earlier in the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But to me, I thought the calls were fine. I thought, number one, they couldn't protect Mahomes up front, so he didn't have a lot of time. So some of these longer developing concepts that they're accustomed to, they couldn't do those things. But then the second part was those B-level receivers, the second wave guys, they weren't winning enough.
Well, that's why I asked, because it felt like they just kept trying to do those chunk plays where he didn't have time at all. So you had to switch to some type of short passing game, West Coast offense. But if you're saying that the B players, were they running shorter routes and they were just sending Hill long just to take the top off?
So the reason that they went to that approach is obviously when they saw that, number one, we're not good enough up front right now because of the injuries to protect for these longer developing routes. They said the alternative was you either go quick game or you do what you saw Mahomes doing, where he's going to just give a ton of ground, but he has the arm strength and the touch that, hey, if Tyreek can get over top one of these guys, I can lay it out there for him. If Kelce gets over top, I can lay it out there for them. So that was going to be their approach to combat it because, like I said, with the shorter, quicker routes, those guys weren't winning consistently enough. Now, I didn't think the Bucs were going to be that good in their secondary either, but I don't think that it was just necessarily they were so good in the second. I think it was the combo of that rush really getting after them. So
you probably only have a split second to make a decision. So if he's not open, you're
not going to go back. Yeah. So that was kind of how I looked at that perspective. I didn't think it was the calling scenario. I thought it was, like I said, the second tier guys had to win consistently. Even if you're not getting open all the time, when you do get open, right? We talked about the drops that they had. If the B-level players, those are their plays to make. You're not going to win consistently. You're not going to always get open. You're a B-level guy for a reason. But when you are, in position to make a play, you have to make those plays. And you think all right, Tyreek, the one that hit him in the face, if he catches that early on, different ball game. The two that we talked about that got dropped in the right side of the end zone, different ball game. Kelce's drop, different ball game. So you could just see right there, and obviously 4 plays don't make or break a game, but how those 4 plays, if those are just simple catches, and it's not like, and we're not talking about a PBU. These are passes that hit these guys in the hands or in some cases hit them in the face. You know what I mean? So it's not like
even worse.
Right. So it wasn't even like we're asking you to make a spectacular play. It's just make the plays you're supposed to make. If you make those 4 plays right there, I mean, you think, well, that's 28 points. It's a different ball game. Night and day. The pressure that they were able to get the Bucs in terms of their pass rush, drastically different if you've scored multiple touchdowns and now it's a closer ball game.
And they were able to run the ball, but as they were able to run the ball, the game flow was terrible because they were down like 2 or 3 scores.
Yep. So now you face.
But if it's a close game, that's where you can mix it up, kind of with the short passing game, the running game. Now that short passing thing's so interesting to me. So those B guys weren't getting open at all.
The times in which they did get open, you saw the rush winning fast.
Okay.
And then the other times where they weren't getting open, all right, it's just stuck. But then where they had opportunities, they were just dropping those, and those are the ones you got to catch. That's the thing. It's like you're not. I mean, if we were talking about, I guess, a B-level guy for us, right? Not saying that James Washington is a B player, but for our team right now, he was in the B category. we don't see drops from James, right? Now, granted, he's not going to get a ton of targets, but if he only gets 3 targets, he's going to catch 3 targets. He's going to catch 3 of them. He's going to catch 2 of them. Those guys weren't doing that. If you're, Harmon, if you're I'm drawing a blank on the 4th receiver.
Pringle.
Yeah, Pringle. If you're one of those guys, you're not getting a ton of targets. But when the ball is hitting you in the chest, hitting your hands, you got to catch those. And that's, to me, is the thing. But the O-line was definitely priority number 1. The lack of timing, that killed him. And then you flip it to the other side, you saw how that O-line, they controlled line of scrimmage. They were able to run the ball. Like, as much as we talked about Brady's passing, the running game was what opened all that up. They could not stop Fournette and Ronald Jones. And that was the biggest reason why they were able to do what they did to that defense, because the Chiefs defense is very much like the Bucs defense. But they're built to be either in 1-score games or with the lead. Not when you got to come out here and play the run for 60 minutes. Like, that's not what they want to do.
They were lining up, I think, with one receiver out there in the formation. Man. You're just like, all right, they're running it, just blitz everyone. And they still couldn't stop it.
Seriously, man.
I thought the Bucs manhandled them on both sides, offense and defense.
They controlled the line of scrimmage, man. And I talked about this on the live. I was like, it's funny. We say the same things when it comes to football games, right? Protect the quarterback, rush the passer, run the ball. If you can control these things, minimize turnovers, catch the ball. Like, it's simple, right? It's so simple to do. I mean, it's so simple when we were breaking down like what it is, but the execution element of it is where it gets tricky. And you just saw the basic fundamentals that the Bucs did. They protected Brady. They ran the ball. They rushed the quarterback. They didn't have the penalties. We saw how many penalties the Chiefs were having in the first half. Now, obviously, you can make a case that some of them might have been a little ticky-tack, but either way, you lining up in the neutral zone on 4th and 5 on a field goal, that's not a smart move.
They showed the replay on that. I couldn't even tell. Was he clearly over?
Yeah, it's the end guy. Yeah, okay. But it wasn't the guy that they highlighted. It was the other guy. It was Harmon, Mikael Harmon.
Okay.
He was the one. Yeah, so literally his head
like you can barely tell, but yeah, okay. But if it was that clear to you?
If you're on the field, it's clear, because the way it is all of, and this is a simple trick for anyone who's watching the game, right? When you watch the field goal block team, right, the defense get lined up, everybody's helmet should be right in the same line together. You look at Harmon's helmet, it's ahead of front of everyone else's.
Okay.
And especially if you're the end guy and your head is in front of everyone else is right at the ball. So if your head's in front of him, that means your head is across the ball. But a trick that we always learned as defenders, and especially as rushers, right? Your D-line, you can look to the right or to the left sideline, right? Where they have the yard marker. It's a referee there. You can point to him. And if you're offsides, he'll tell you to back up. If you're fine, he'll give you a thumbs up. Receivers do it every time. Think about how many times you see a receiver where they run to the sideline and they point. They give you this and he'll thumbs up or tell him to back up. It's that simple every play. So it's like, this, and knowing that that was a wide receiver, it's not even like that was a corner. I didn't even know that.
Wow.
Right. I'm like, if this is a corner that's at the, because sometimes you use your corners, right? Because we here in Pittsburgh, we use Joe Hayden, right? He's our guy that'll rush off the edge to get a block on a field goal. So I was like, if it's a DB, okay, cool. Maybe you can make a case for it. But a wide receiver, I'm like, bro, you're the one who talks to the referee every play. You're the one who comes out and points. I'm good. I'm on. I'm off. Like, this is what I'm doing. So you already knew this. So for you to line up in the neutral zone right there, that's not good football. That's self-inflicted. That has zero to do with the referee. If the referee doesn't call that, you over here like, ref, what are you looking at, baby? Like, come on now. So to me, that those are the things. It's like, as simple as that is, they weren't doing those things. And the Bucs did a great job of making them pay every time. Whenever they were able to extend a drive, whenever they were able to, was pass interference on this call? All right, cool. Well, we're not going to settle for this. We're going to punch it in. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, the one I think probably was most ticky-tacky was the Mike Evans one down the sideline. But outside of that, I didn't think they were really that bad. Like the Tyrann Mathieu one, I forget who he was on, but he kind of drilled him going into the end zone. Yeah, it was Mike Evans. It was the one in the end zone too.
Because my thing was, I had a person try to hit me up and was like, well, he was square, and doesn't he own that position, while he owns that area of grass while the guy's running his route? I said, technically in theory, sure, but it's no different if I'm a safety, right? And I'm lined up 20 yards downfield in the hash and I'm just standing there and this receiver is running his route. If that receiver runs into that DB and falls, I don't care about you standing there. They're going to throw that flag on that DB. Like, you can't hit these guys down that field. Like, even though you could make a case by rule, it's like, they're not doing that. It's no different when you watch Gronk, when he would run his routes, back in the day, he would run straight at a linebacker, hit him, and then turn around, right? Create the contact. the rules it just is what it is. So it's like, Tyron, you can't, just sit there and hit that guy like that. Like, I understand what you're trying to do. You want to slow him down, but you can't do it that way. He knows that.
Yeah.
He knows that.
That was, yeah.
I thought the penalty after the touchdown, though, was more ticky-tack. When him and Brady going back and forth, I wasn't a fan of that. I'm like, bro, they were already talking before the game. Let the man talk. Like, it's the Super Bowl. Of course they talking. Like, they amped up. It's the biggest game of the year for these dudes. Like,
I agree. That was a bad call.
That ticky-tack? Like, come on, man. Like, I felt like the refs in the first half were definitely too involved in the game. But then I thought in the second half, it kind of balanced out. But obviously, the second half of the game had gotten out of hand as well. So that kind of played into it. But
yeah, I'm with you. There was no reason to throw that flag. They were just going back and forth with each other. That's normal.
Exactly. I'm like, Brady definitely not about to punch Tyrann Mathieu. And Tyrann, outside of some, college stuff, when has he ever had any trouble in the NFL? Like, seriously.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
And this college stuff was what? Marijuana. Which is legal places now. A lot of places. So, to me, man, I didn't think that whole situation was bad at all, man.
That one didn't impact anything, though, because it was however many seconds before half.
So they just did the extra point. They moved it back. That was it.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was enforced on the kickoff, right?
No. You're right. Yeah, it was.
And then he just bombed it. Yeah. He bombed it into the stands.
You're right.
Yeah, and right. I think the half was over.
Yeah, because I'm thinking in the second one, I'm thinking about the at the end of the game with Winfield Jr. doing the peace sign to Tyreek, which after the fact, like in the moment, I was like, yo, why is he so extra right now? But to find out like what happened afterwards, like it made sense.
What happened?
So when they played him the first time, when Tyreek Hill went for the 20 yards in the first quarter, he peace signs him and front flips into the end zone. So he was like, literally, I remembered that. And when I got that moment right there, I ran up on him. Game's over. I'm going to hit you with the peace sign. And it was like a long, because I'm like, yo, why is he holding it so long? I'm like, when Tyreek will flash it and then just go. I was like, this dude is like making it like, obviously, like, yo, peace. You see it? 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I'm like, yo, why are you so extra right now? Like, dude.
The defense deserved to celebrate for the Bucs, man. I mean, they were celebrating at the end of the game in front of the camera and shit.
Shout out to Devin White, man. Devin White.
I know. Dude, they were covering Kelsey pretty good. Like the linebackers.
Dude, absolutely.
They definitely deserve to celebrate, man.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Especially against the Chiefs offense. Yeah, I think they scored a touchdown every point up to this game. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. We've never seen them shut out. Now, granted, when we say shutout, I'm talking about like touchdown. Like obviously they hit the field goals, but we've never seen under Mahomes. We've never seen that from them. So that was different. Well,
they showed his worst losses. I think his worst losses were like 7 points all the way up to this point. Wow. Like it was the Texans game last year, the Patriots game in the AFC Championship. What was that? Like overtime, 3 points. Yeah. The Raiders game this year, I think that was like a 7-point game.
Yeah.
They showed his worst losses. They were all like single digits.
I mean, he only has what, 5?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many, but they were all single digits.
He doesn't have a ton of losses like in his career, which is like nuts. But yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, this was his worst loss.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so shout out to the Bucs defense for all that.
Absolutely, man.